with?
Wow.
I said it was going to make it easy on you.
I would say you don't get that lucky too often, and it was the right character, it was the right time, and my abilities were ready for the job. So I think that it had to be that character, that book, and that year.
Interesting. And then we'll skip over something, because it's interesting that you did Batman Year One after The Dark Knight Returns. And now you're at the early stages of his career. Did that feel odd, starting with the later life Batman and then going to a younger one? Or did it make sense for you to approach it in that fashion?
Well, I know what happened was, in preparing any major piece of work, you do what's called a backstory, and you have to essentially create the character and the world in which they inhabit. And so, I knew I was doing a retired Batman. I didn't just need the story of why he retired. I needed the story of why he became Batman in the first place and how it happened. All we ever knew in the past really was that Bruce Wayne was a really rich kid and his parents were murdered, and he turned himself into Batman. We didn't know how he managed to raise himself in a big old mansion from the age of 6. We didn't learn how he became the greatest detective in the world, and how the hell he got all those great toys. And so that became a story all by itself.
And now we're coming to a time, and we're in the middle of DK3, the third story. But now it's a collaborative process for you. Is this different? Was it harder to approach it in this fashion? Or do you feel it brings on different textures and different ways of working on the book?
Well, it's I mean, harder certainly not, because Brian is doing the heavy lifting. In terms of the main difference in terms of how it affects what I'm thinking, what I'm doing, is Brian. Because these characters remain who they are, but playing ideas off Brian and hearing his ideas has changed the way I'm looking at all these characters, except for Carrie. Because I know Carrie.
When I started before, I was saying about how you really affected a generation. You really helped reinvent what comics were perceived to be at a time where, they actually were kind of failing. What I find interesting is a lot of artists identify Dark Knight Returns as their entry point in comics, why they became artists. How do you feel about being that level of inspiration to this whole generation of creators for today?
Well, on the one hand, I feel tremendously honored and gratified by that. On the other hand, I hope I didn't teach them too many bad habits.
And then on the other side of the question, who do you consider your greatest inspirations, or where do you draw so much of your inspiration from?
What previous cartoonists?
Yeah, cartoonists?
Well, by far and away the most important cartoonist as a reader and as an artist has been Will Eisner, whose spirit has changed everything about comic books. Beyond that, there's Goliaths like Jack Kirby, who gave us the whole sense of what power and drama and opera could be in comics. After that, it becomes such a smorgasbord of talent that it's almost uncontrollable to stop. It's almost impossible to stop naming people too. I have to name Joe Kubert, whose work really remains, to my mind, as good as comic books that have ever gotten. And Neil Adams, who personally was my mentor and teacher, and got me my first job in comics.
And I've just got my little notices. I have to make this the last question. You have such a great career between film, television, comic books. What do you feel most comfortable doing? What do you want to feel that is your greatest body of work of everything that you've seen and worked on in time?
I have to name the best story I ever got my hands on, which was 300.
That's great. That's great. Well, I think all of us here, I'm going to speak for the comic industry right now. We all owe you a great thanks, and we appreciate all the work that's been accomplished by you And I'm looking forward to the next 4 issues of DK3 and everything else that comes after that, without a doubt.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
If everybody will stay right where they're at. That's why this kept going out. You'll stay right where we're at.